my parents moved from my childhood home. I know I'm like in college now, but it was just kind of like a sad transition, I think, when they moved. I feel a little weird about it.
Yeah, when you say weird, it's kind of, is it just that they left? Did you also have to move out?
Well, I think it was like I wasn't helping the process of moving. Like they packed my like old room for me. They packed the house up, so I didn't really get to like have a goodbye, I guess, in Sarasota. I'm from Sarasota. So like I didn't get to have a goodbye in Sarasota. There's just like a lot of memories there. So I've just been feeling like a little sad about it.
You weren't really part of the moving out, so you kind of feel a little abrupt.
Yeah, it definitely felt abrupt and like it was also like a split second almost decision. Like they decided to move um in October and or they moved in October, but they decided to move in like August. So it was like 2 months, really fast.
Yeah, so you didn't have a lot of warning.
No, not a lot of warning at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you feel when they first told you?
I felt like a little like in shock, I guess, overwhelmed. We've lived there like my entire life, and I mean, they moved to this coast, so they moved closer to me, which has also been kind of a different transition just because it's interesting to have like your parents living in the same city that like you're going to college in when you've had 4 years of them like being in a different city and now they're like integrating into your life here and church life. So that's been like kind of weird.
Yeah, so you're really going through two transitions, kind of, losing that home base and then also having your parents here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would you say you're struggling with the most? I know you mentioned like integrating with your church.
Yeah, I think that might be the biggest one is like um maybe feeling like a sense of loss of community because before they moved over here, like I would have like kind of a strong community with like church friends and whatnot. And now after church, like classic like Christian culture, I guess, you would go out to lunch after church, and now it's like there's more of a requirement to do family time instead of friend time.
Okay.
So, but at the same time, I'm like happy about that. It's just like I'm navigating how to go about integrating them. Yeah.
So I think what you really need to focus on is definitely finding that balance of, there's family time, there's friend time, and how to distinguish that maybe without, would you say like you're a little bit worried about hurting your parents' feelings in this?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Is that something that they've shared, or they feel like you're not giving them enough time since they've moved here?
Well, I think that they're definitely very sensitive. So I have to like work hard to make sure that their feelings are like not getting hurt or like that they're feeling like I'm giving them enough time. I think their like love languages are like quality time.
Okay.
So that's been something where it's like at home I was able to give in Sarasota I could give them all my time because it was like I was coming home to give them all my time. But now I'm having to balance like I have a different life here, so I'm having to balance like how to be intentional and have quality time with them and friends and church community and school. So it's just like a different like stage of life almost I'm entering into.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely, I understand why it's hard because it's definitely something where you and your parents are going through a transition. I'm sure they're expecting that, that now they get to see you so much more often. Is that something that they've shared, that they're kind of wishing that they saw you more even now?
Yeah, definitely. Like they're wanting to see me more, wanting to come down more and stuff. Yeah, it can feel maybe intrusive at times.
How have you dealt with that so far?
So far, I have always given them like Sundays.
Okay.
So like one day of the week, I'll like make sure like, okay, on Sundays we're gonna do like this, and this, and like we can hang out and whatnot and go to church and go to lunch. And then during the week, it's been like just, I guess whenever I'm free and not having something, I'll reach out to see.
Yeah. Does Sunday feel like a good day? I know you mentioned not being able to have, that church base separate from them. So would you think that maybe shifting it from Sundays would work better for you?
It could. I think they really like this church, so it might be hard to like, yeah, it'd be hard to like not have,
Mhm.
yeah, one of us at that community.
Yeah.
It's kind of just awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say like not have one of you, but is there a way where maybe some Sundays post church, could be for family, and then other times could be maybe for your friends in that community? Is that something that you think you could work
Yeah.
with?
Maybe every other or
Yeah.
something.
So you can still have, your family time and your friends.
Yeah, I think that would be good, like to tell them that and see.
Do you think they'd receive that? How do you think that would go?
I think my mom would receive it, and my brother goes to school here,
Okay.
so he is also going through the same transition. Yeah, I'm older, but so like we have each other in that, like balancing that. But yeah, I think I just am feeling like, oh, I'm losing like some freedom maybe, or something like that. But
I mean, I think now would be a really good time to kind of practice setting boundaries with them, which I know can be a little hard with parents. So what are some boundaries that you think that you could set with them to say like, okay, so this is what I'm giving you, and then this is what I need for myself?
I think that I like the idea of having one day a week be like designated for them, even if I'm not verbally maybe communicating that, but having that for myself of like this day a week I would like to make sure I'm intentional. I think my biggest thing is like not wanting to feel inauthentic or like disingenuous. So like making sure I'm communicating things like how I'm feeling maybe. I think one boundary I need to like start implementing is like not feeling like I have to pick up the phone 24/7. My family's like big talking, communication family. Like we call each other all the time, like multiple times a day. And it can become disruptive to like my workflow or just like getting things done. And I'll feel like I need to talk to them for like hours and hours. Like I'm owing them time.
So that's definitely a good place to start.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good because you can just not answer the phone, Maybe just like send a text after. How do you think about that? Kind of like, I'm busy.
Yeah, I think that sometimes when I'll do that, they will be like, you're never answering. Or like they'll get upset and things of like, oh, you didn't answer or whatnot. So that might be something I need to talk to them about or communicate.
I think, I think there are certain things that others will never understand, So I think, try and have that conversation with them, but at the same time, if that's a good boundary for you, if you think that's really helping you and it serves your time, even if they don't understand it, that doesn't mean that you can't still hold that up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's good. What would be some like boundaries you think I could implement with parents in adulthood?
Yeah, I think it's more so about I think what feels right for you. And so I think the first step would be finding the balance on Sundays. What do you think? Yeah, I think a balance on Sundays would be really good. There are some Sundays that are for your family, and some where, if you want to have that community time with friends, you have to allow yourself that. And I know you said, one day a week, maybe, when you don't have that Sunday, if you can find some time another day. I don't know if that's something that's possible with your schedule.
Yeah, I think my schedule's pretty flexible. So like I could do like before classes and stuff, or before, even like lunches or like coffees and things like that.
Yeah, I think, I think it's easy to say like, oh, a family day, but time with your family doesn't always have to be, an entire day for it to be like quality time, So if quality time for you guys looks like half an hour or an hour of getting a coffee with your mom, where you can really like give her all your attention, I think maybe that's even better than, would you say, feeling like almost a little bit annoyed on a Sunday if you would rather be with your friends that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's good.
Is that something that you think you could do with her?
I think so, yeah. I think that my brother and I are definitely like support for each other. Like we like to like do things together. When it's like comes to our family, like both of us go and like see our dad or like both of us go and spend time like at lunch and things like that. My parents are also like divorced, so that's a different dynamic too. Like we split our times between our mom and our dad on the same coast, so it's like that's a whole nother factor.
That's good. And you mentioned that you and your brother are really good support systems. Maybe is there any way that you feel like he could support you more? Is there anything else you feel like you guys could be doing to make it easier on each other?
Probably like maybe communication of like he's a really good, I feel like I do more of the communicating, like okay, he's younger, so it's like younger sibling dynamic, like he's like you just go and figure it all out and like pick me up and tell me when to get there and stuff. So he could maybe help more with like organizing time, communicating better, and like helping me in those ways.
I think that's a great thing that you should definitely talk to him about. You know, it's like it's great that he's a support system while you're there, but I think helping you guys get there is something that he could take on every once in a while. Is that something you think he'd be open to?
I think so. I think I would have to. He does not have as maybe good of a relationship with my parents. He's like teenage boy phase kind of, where he's like, oh, I just want to be with my friends and stuff. So I think I would have to present it to him and be like, I need help in these areas.
Is it something where, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of seems like you almost are like responsible for his interactions with them. Would you say that that's kind of what it's like?
Yeah, definitely. Like growing up, for sure. Like I was like little mom to him in a lot of ways, especially with like my parents being divorced. Like when we were at our dad's, like I did do a lot of the mothering, and I'm like firstborn daughter, so I think the firstborn daughter like takes that role a lot too, of like being like the mom's helper. So I think I've definitely like taken on that role.
So maybe it'd be a good thing to step back, you know, and kind of let him decide what he wants to do with the relationship with your parents, and maybe that'll take a little bit off of you. You know, like let him decide like, okay, this is as much as I want to give, and this weekend I don't want to, and maybe that will help your time feel more authentic, you know, when you're not having to also account for someone else. What do you think?
I think so, yeah. I think that it's probably would be good for our relationship too. Like for me not to have to like mother or like control, you know, like when he's doing things, like it would be good for him to learn how to do those things on his own.
I think it'll be beneficial for both of you. You know, you step back and kind of let him, you said he's in that teenager phase, we'll let him really grow in and out of it, and step back and kind of give yourself maybe the space to just not mother and just worry about yourself and your relationship with your parents more individually, and also so you and him are not kind of having that conflict of him feeling like you're mothering him if he doesn't necessarily want to. But how does that sound?
Yeah, I think that would be good, like take a lot of pressure off of myself too, of like not holding him as like, oh, I have to do this, or
I think it'd be, I mean, you kind of sighed a little bit. Does it feel like it's like, would it be relieving, or is it kind of still giving you a little bit of anxiety to kind of think of letting go of that role?
I think it would. I think that physical response is like, like I can let him go, like do his own thing. Like it would be more relieving than like anxiety. There might be a tinge of anxiety of just like, oh, what's he gonna do? You know, because I just care for him so much. Like, oh, is he gonna be able to do it on his own? But I think it'd be relieving for me.
And I think that there's an anxiety and worrying for him because he's your little brother and you don't know if he can. But I think almost by not putting him in a position to do it on his own, you're almost like you're not giving him the space to try, you know? So I think it'll be good for both of you. You know, you'll be less stressed out about all the interactions with your parents, and he'll also be able to have a more authentic relationship with you and them, you know? So I think it'll, what do you think? I mean, it sounds, I hope it'd be something that'd be helpful for you guys.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be like a really positive family dynamic switch up.
Yeah.